let's at least just get a feel for the language that, again, I've pointed out, these bloody scenes of violence that shock first-time readers of the Iliad. Antiochus was the first to kill a Trojan captain, tough on the front lines. Phasaelus, his son, Echophilus. Antiochus thrust first, speared the horse-haired helmet right at the ridge, and the bronze spear point lodged in the man's forehead, smashing through his skull, and the dark came whirling down across his eyes. He toppled down like a tower in the rough assault. Odysseus' close friend is killed. Enraged at line 570, enraged at his friend's death, Odysseus sprang in fury. Helmed in fiery bronze, he plowed through the front and, charging the enemy, glaring left and right, he hurled his spear, a glinting brazen streak, and the Trojans gave ground, scattering back, panicking there before his whirling shaft. A direct hit. Odysseus struck Democles, Priam's bastard son, come down from the Abydos, Priam's racing stables. Incensed from the dead, Odysseus speared him straight through one temple, and out the other punched the sharp bronze point, and the dart came swirling thick across his eyes. Down he crashed, armor clanging against his chest, and the Trojan front shrank back. Glorious Hector, too, as the Argives yelled, and dragged away the corpses, pushing on, breakneck on. We find out that they will do nasties to the corpses. But Lord God Apollo, gazing down now from the heights of Pergamus, rose in outrage, crying down at the Trojans, "Up! At them, you stallion-breaking Trojans." So here comes Apollo now to get involved. "Never give up your lust for war against these Argives. What, are their bodies made of rock or iron to block your tearing bronze? Stab them, slash their flesh. Achilles, the son of lovely sleek-haired Thetis, the man's not even fighting. No, he wallows in all his heart-sick fury by the ships." So he cried from far on the city's heights, the awesome god Apollo. But Zeus's daughter, Athena, spurred the Argives on. Athena, first in glory, third born of the gods, whenever she saw some slacker hanging back as she hurtled through the onset. So note the irony. You got brother and sister fighting against each other by leading two different sides of this battle, and it's all being fought. Why? Because Hera didn't want to see, and Athena didn't want to see, a compromise, a peace pact. We finish with Amycritus' son, Diores, fate-shackled Diores, fast in line 600, and a jagged rock struck him against the right shin beside the ankle. Pyrrhus' son of Ambercurus winged it hard and true, and the Thracian chief who had sailed across from Enos, the ruthless rock striking the bones and tendons, crushed them to pulp. He landed flat on his back, slamming the dust, both arms flung out to his comrades, gasping out his life. Paris, who heaved the rock, came rushing in and speared him up the navel, his bowels uncoiled, spilling loose on the ground, and the dart came swirling down across his eyes. And on it goes, ripping blades across bellies, right? And then the attempt to always strip the armor and to humiliate the corpse. The way that this passage ends, I think, is compelling. Again, book 4, I argue it's one of the most unsettling books. Why? We begin with gods and goddesses drinking nectar upon Mount Olympus and gazing down, is the language of Robert Fagles, gazing down to watch these troops. How did the last lines end? At line 623, 24, 25. And now, last lines of Iliad 4. No man who waded into that work could scorn it any longer. Anyone still not speared or stabbed by tearing bronze, who whirled into the heart of all that slaughter, not even if great Athena led him by the hand, flicking away the weapons hailing down against him. That day, ranks of Trojans, ranks of Achaean fighters sprawled there side by side, face down in the dust. Well, again, it's an unsettling book because it suggests that the gods have this sense of playing with humans' fate. Let's do some 2A work really quickly. The gods, one of the major messages of this book is the gods do play with humans and their fate. It's as if they don't care very much, these gods, about the fact that these humans are going to slaughter each other. Of course, another major theme here is that war really is hell. And, of course, the idea that men can gain their kleos, their glory, in war if they can overcome fear. So that we're building this argument that war is the way men are defined. Right? We're going to live with this in Western thought for a very, very long time. We still live with this today, the idea that the way you define who you are as a man is the way you go out and you fight and kill other men. It's an unsettling idea, obviously. At 2b, well, the symbolism here, we didn't talk a lot about it, but, Pandarus's bow, it's a special bow. Lots is made about all of the way it's made out of the goat horn and all of that. It's a symbol, right, of the weapon to end the truce, sadly. The irony, of course, is that the gods fight on either side, brother against sister, even Apollo for the Trojans, Athena for the Greeks, right? At 3a, well, the texts that come to mind, I'm going to go ahead and just give you Tolstoy's classic War and Peace. There are scenes in War and Peace that will play right along with Iliad 4. And if you know Iliad 4 and then you pick up War and Peace and you look at some of those scenes, you get a sense of it, right? What are some of the other texts for you that show the horror of war? I think of the first 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. I think of Full Metal Jacket. I think of Platoon, all of these. The text that comes to mind is one we'll study together a little bit later, Virgil's Aeneid. Finally, at 3b, let's ask this question. Do you think it's good to show the horrors of war in text? We know about the way war can be glorified, video games and elsewhere, right? But what about showing the horrors of war? Plato, in his classic text, Republic, talks about how concerned he is about young children who are going to be guardians or soldiers of the Republic being exposed to some of these passages from Homer, simply because it's hard to build soldiers if they are afraid of dying. And some of the scenes are inevitably maybe going to make them afraid of dying. You have to glorify war. You'll remember that Plato will suggest that young children should be brought out to the battlefield and watch so that they can get a sense of what it looks like and not be afraid of it. Finally, at 3b, what is your view of the gods as arbitrary, taking part even in the fighting? Of course, Milton, in his Paradise Lost, will have to answer this question as he portrays God as aware that things are about to happen. Adam and Eve are going to make their mistake, and allowing it to happen anyway. What are your thoughts about that one? How about this one? When was the last time that you were really afraid and you had to overcome your fear to accomplish whatever it was that you needed to accomplish? Well, that's book 4. And in our next lecture, we'll turn to book 5 and the great Diomedes, who was silent when Agamemnon taunted him. We'll come to him. I hope that you will continue your study with me. Thank you.